This is a production of What the Grit LLC. Today we will be reading the introduction of the book What the Grit, The Suffering You Need by Paul Anderson, edited by Elizabeth Sanchez Arce, illustrations done by Cormac. Okay, so the introduction here, guys, I just wanted to do something a little bit different with an audiobook. I'm going to be reading here, and you guys can turn up the speed for how fast maybe you want the reading to be done, but I thought I'd actually be someone behind the screen you can see and watch or just listen on the side. All right, let's go ahead and get started today. Introduction. What the Grit? Eyes on target, LT. Eyes on target. Colonel Pierce. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Frederick Douglass. What the Grit opens with a section called Planting the Seeds. These chapters explore ways to better understand the turmoil of life and begin the process of growing to be your best self. No matter the type of person you are or how successful you have been, you must continue to plant the seeds. What you put in is what you get out. That fact should galvanize your thought process as we explore how to get out of the mud and back into the light. This part is about giving you a way to organize your thoughts and emotions and life in a way that will ignite your ability to grow to your full potential. There is no denying that putting life back together has never been more challenging. Still, by forming a personal vision and mission, which I will explain in Chapter 3, you can concentrate on achievement and find new opportunities to grow. The chapters will show how your vision that you will create for yourself will assist you in driving positive new habits and behavior. Creating a new person is difficult. Even harder is recreating someone who has had many traumatic events. The good news is that you are constantly changing, and that is our advantage. You can say it's the secret sauce of living a full life. The very fact that you are constantly changing can allow us to see the opportunity for long-term growth. We can propel ourselves to innovate by doing this. With these skills, you will be able to act bravely in the world. Some chapters will end with an exercise for you to practice. Each one is placed to assist you in your development and help you handle stressful situations. I recommend you keep a personal journal. This is recommended to help you get your thoughts, goals, or problems out on paper, however you wish to. Still, it is recommended that you take notes and implement them into your life. Much easier said than done. One of the primary reasons for this part 1 is to prove to you that accepting transformation is our first step in making ourselves better. Still, it appears that if they aren't in some kind of tragic moment, they're just reluctant to change what they're doing. They don't want to see the opportunities that are right in front of them. It is fascinating that literally 99% of the time I ask people help or offer to look at a resume or recommend them for something, they do not want it. Many must be in a moment of desperation to receive or accept help. I want us to stop thinking of ourselves so poorly that any kind of assistance makes our ego implode. Part 2 of this book is called Feeding the Soil. The chapters do not contain a model for rebuilding ourselves. There is not a model that exists for you. Reject the leaders who write books with some phony model for you to follow. There are action steps, but we need to get real about the complexity of human behavior. That is why this part will instead bring you further down the rabbit hole to achieve your dreams. This part will move you from accepting transformation in part 1 to beginning transformation in part 2. The chapters will help you develop principles for yourself, explain how to acquire discipline, and set the groundwork for excellence of character. The chapters will contain imperatives a person should follow to regenerate themselves. These imperatives push you to the edge of your abilities and will force you into a growth state. Positive growth is not an easy thing to accomplish, will require the reader's application to succeed. This book is only the beginning of your new journey. The truth is, there is no real end, and that is terrifying for most of us. When we realize that there is no end, no retirement, we come to understand that the day you stop growing is the day you die. Do not think that you can work hard for 20 years and retire to a lovely little cottage. Maybe if that's what you really want. Still, that is very unlikely to happen unless you keep grinding. We must always be grateful for our right to work. Tomorrow is not promised. To help you build your focus and willpower, I have made part 2 about thinking about how to do this differently. The tools I lay out will initiate your ability to break through external and internal barriers holding you back. Building new ways of thinking and behaviors takes incredible amounts of energy and must happen over time. Research shows that more often than not, changing our habits does not last. Even more, after making substantial gains in personal improvement, many go back to old behaviors. Usually, a new obstacle will appear, and our old habits kick in as defense mechanisms. Fact remains that the self-defense mechanisms we learn as children cause us to revert to old behaviors. Given this fact, we must stay focused and get out of our routines. This is normal and something we can actively work to prevent. Simply put, try never to eat processed sugar again, and you will likely fail. Change your diet to eat more fruit and vegetables, no exceptions, and most likely you won't reach for the processed sugar too much. The final part of this book, part 3, is called Nurturing the Plant. The most critical aspect of this part is reinforcing leadership lessons and behaviors that help you be your best self. I dig deep here into some events that have shaped my extreme perspective on life. I include how society shapes us and what it means to live in modernity. I also talk about how horrible the United States public education system is and offer ideas on how to change it. In this book, there are stories I have never shared with anyone. The most difficult moments of my life are here. They are here to help you see, SEE, or significant emotionally event C, how you can change the world for the better with your story. Creating a personal account of your world vision is vital to begin reinforcing your best self. You must fully live your vision to become it. Sometimes the mission may change, but the vision, shown in chapter 3, must be profound and always be your bottom line. Research shows that without active reinforcement, people go back to old behaviors they want to leave behind. My goal is to turn you into a perpetual growth machine. I do this by showing how true, bold, and audacious character is built. Chapters also show how to accomplish your highest aspiration with the assistance of personal leadership training. The thing that developed me most in my life was the challenge to lead others twice my age. Adding to the challenge was that people I led were diverse and varied in every way. This experience is what I think can really develop people to be better humans. Still, this kind of bold action will inevitably lead to failure, but this is required to grow and learn. You do not need to be scared of this kind of leadership responsibility. If our children were taught how to lead each other, they would learn critical thinking skills. Yet, many of the powers that exist do not want this to happen. Critical thinking adults mean less power for those who wield it, and a better life for all of us. No wonder we all feel held back in life, and in the United States, we feel less free every day. The government bans our speech on YouTube and Facebook. They tell us we are radicals and hate our country. No, I love my country, and I want freedom for the world. We must reclaim our freedom together by liberating ourselves from the chains of modernity. If you question whether you can change and stay consistent, then you are pretty normal. Still, we should stop being all like mice and be better than average. I think this book will get you out of your head and stop questioning and lead to action in the world. Overall, you will find various insights, stories, and tools to assist you in external and internal life obstacles. These tools will show you how to block the negative outside voices, silence your fear of consequence, and motivate yourself. At the end of this book, you will have set the foundation for the person that you will be made in your vision. Living a life of positive consequence and making the world a better place are things we cannot only strive for, but we must, now more than ever. You can be the phenomenon you desire, and the best part is that you do not have to be anything the world expects. You can defy the odds. No one understands what is required for you to become your best self. I acknowledge that this is the kind of self-development is not typical in the self-help genre. However, that is why I wrote it. Most books in this genre do not ask you to do enough to become your best self. They do not thoroughly discuss the work and perseverance required of you, and to do that is a lie. They do not go in depth into the extreme horrors we live and how we can maneuver to a better life through the darkness. The farthest they go is to say that it will be hard. But how is that enough? To me, lying is one step away from being a thief. And this is what they are doing. They plan on stealing your time and energy and little gain from it. It is my hope to offer the expertise you need to build a strong foundation for your life. I want to make you capable of resisting modern society's temptations, not to lie to you and cover it up with rainbows and sunshine. But if you want a trophy, you can go buy one at a garage sale. Why is it that other books do not offer a way to actual results? Most are from people who have not truly had to develop from nothing. And if they have, it can be challenging for anyone to transmit what is genuinely required to get out of the depth of darkness. One fantastic example of this kind of good communication from nothing to something is a book called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. He is an animal, a beast that brings a fire and ignites the soul of the broken. You can take on anything. Anything. This is the kind of person we should emulate. His story inspired me to finally finish this book. I am so tired of feeling unliberated and unwell. See, I've had to come from nothing. I am finally rediscovering what it means to be free, which I want for you. Throughout the reading, you will find I was an inept, ignorant, and stubborn young man, not unlike many of you. Yet, I grew, and I developed into someone of whom I can be proud and love. My story is that I have acquired wisdom about man's fragility through near-death experiences, and I know exactly what it feels like, as if the world would be better off if you were not here. I know that this kind of significant emotional event, C, can spur tremendous individual growth. Sometimes, these C's, or significant emotional events, can be induced in much safer ways than near-death experiences. In later chapters, like Chapter 7, called Call Sign Steel Rain, I will give examples of C's and Lee's, little emotional events, to better understand your own life. The Navy SEALs induce so-called C's by doing the activity called drown-proofing. The Navy SEAL drown-proofing test is a shock for any special operations candidate who did not practice these events in simulated fashion. At SEAL training, you will have your ankles tied together and your arms tied behind your back for the drown-proofing test. You can see a video of this if you go on YouTube and look it up. Also, as part of the drown-proofing, they get in your head and tell you that you're going to drown. They yell it at you. Imagine being yelled at that you're going to drown and that you are lower than the scum of earth. That can get into anyone's head. This is too hard for most people to deal with, and they quit on themselves, and they fear death. The thing is, if you never come close to touching an end, you are not really living. Let me be clear. You must be willing to put yourself in that discomfort. You must believe in your strength that comes from within. Finding comfort in this pain is what you require on your journey. Find peace when the world is crashing around. You can take the pain, and through it, become. There are also many other ways to induce great stress, but the military finds it more comfortable eliminating the weak-minded people as quickly as possible. This does not mean that you aren't capable, just not yet. The military is well practiced in this. They know they can get rid of people who are not ready by putting the fear of God in them. Doing this gives people great courage, and we can find out what we are genuinely made of. If we fail to get through a sea like this, life is not over. Instead, you now have a new way to achieve and will likely come to find that you were competent all along. In my experience, I have learned that our bodies can take just about anything. It's our mind that needs training to handle life's hardships. The idea is simple. Challenge yourself to such an extent that you could die if you do not become the person you need to be. If you do this, it will be very likely you not only succeed, but flourish. If this scares you, good. It scared the hell out of me too. That means it's time to jump in and attack that fear. I am grateful to share my growth insights with you. Even more grateful that you have started the journey to become your best self. Let us together ignite the flame that resides within you to become. Bring the fire. No one can stop your relentless fire. And that concludes the reading of the introduction for What the Grit, the Suffering We Need. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll be back and we'll start reading part 1 pretty soon.